Hello beer tubers and welcome to yet another blind tasting with me, Peter, the master of hoppets. Today ranking a boatload of famous German Pilsners. I've been doing quite a few of these big blind tastings and they're really fun to do because they're really challenging and you get to figure out unbiased which of all those beers is your favorite. I'm a massive lover of Pilsner. I've become a massive lover of Pilsner throughout the last maybe 5 years or so. You know, I've always enjoyed a cold lager, but now it's to a point where I adore them, especially the really well-brewed ones. And there's a big difference between the big industrial swill and the well-brewed Pilsners of the world. And the lagers in general. So here we got a collection of 8 different bottles of Pilsner from Germany, spread out throughout Germany, these breweries. This video should maybe have featured 2 very, very famous brands as well. Beck's and Warsteiner, but I picked these up in Germany and I was like, I knew those, and Estra maybe as well. Yeah, I just remember not liking them too much. So I opted for the ones that I thought was most interesting because I thought like 8 is probably max we can fit into a video without it being obscenely long. So we got a plethora of beers here. Some are from really large breweries, but I will say, some of the larger brewed Pilsners in Germany are a whole lot better than, you know, the big macro Pilsners of other breweries. Like if you think the likes of Heineken and Carlsberg and all these kind of Budweiser, whatever, that's a pale lager maybe, but some of these more famous Pilsners around, is Heineken even considered a Pilsner? I don't think so. But if you think Tuborg, for example, in Denmark and Carlsberg, they're considered Pilsners. I think the German larger scale breweries do them much better. So this will be fun. One of them, which is arguably the smallest, is Radeberger. I think that's the smallest. And this is one I didn't pick up myself. I got this from a subscriber and follower on Instagram, Wild Yeast Stouts and Beasts. So thanks a ton for the beer. And the rest here, I picked up myself. So this one as well is independent because this is from Flensburg. It's one of the most large independent breweries in Germany. And let's just, we can't get that out of the way. So we got Flensburger Pilsner, which is a beer I've had a lot recently. It would be cool if I could pinpoint this because I've almost gone through a case of this beer last 4 months or so. And the same goes for Jever. But the big difference with this is Jever in a green bottle. So if this is skunked, I can find it. And I might have to run down to the cellar and get a can just to do it justice if it's completely off. But I wanted to do everything in bottle format. Then we got Bitburger, which is a beer I've also sworn by to be one of the better large brewed German Pilsners. Then from the Radeberger Gruppe, we got the Radeberger Pilsner. And then the Radeberger Pilsner, as I talked about, we got König Pilsner, which I also think is from Radeberger. Then Jever, which I also think is Radeberger. There's a lot of Radeberger. Bitburger is not. And then we got Krombacher, which is a beer that's very famous supermarket beer. I think it was in Aldi that they had it in Denmark, which I remember really liking. My dad used to love Krombacher a lot. And there's another one, Perlenbacher as well, which is like surprisingly decent for a supermarket, cheaper beer. And then lastly, Holstein, which is also, is that Radeberger? I can't remember. It's also a larger brewery. So a couple of North German Pilsners as well. So this will be fun, and I think we should just dive in. And all of them look identical. Like there is no color change. Everything is pale yellow. And some of them had amazing heads pouring out. Some of them did not. But I think I'm just gonna move them a bit forward so I have some room here. And we're just gonna start randomly and check out some pills. And what I wanna look for, what I love, especially also what I think Pilsner should have, is a decent hop character, not IPA level of hopping, decent bitterness. I prefer the higher end, but it should at least have some bitterness. It should be clean, there should be no off flavors, and it should be light in the malt department, if we're talking these classic Pilsners. So this will be, this is one of the blind tastings I've been looking forward to the most because I've been wanting to drink some just like German pills from Germany. So let's start out with this one first. This was not one of the ones with crazy great head retention. Yeah, this is very light. This smells like something that might be of the larger scale. Sweet, kind of grassy, doughy, bready notes and some grassy hoppy notes. Yeah, a little bit of a straw, kind of like just a fresh grain kind of a note. But this is very mild. Let's try the first one. Yeah. That is most likely one of the ones I do not know. This is really refreshing. There's a noble hop thing about it though, like a spice and a black pepper note on the back, but it goes into that clinical, almost clean nuance where it's like, it's really good. Oh, this bitterness is actually really nice. This is good though. It grows on me a couple sips in. I think the bitterness is more substantial. And that grassy, peppery action on there. This is pretty classic Pilsner. It's really clean. It's pretty decent. It's not half bad. This is the bitterness really builds as we sip on it. Let's see the next one here. This one had one of the better head retentions. And you can see that it really foams up when I swirl it. So this is a bit more chewy and hefty on malt. Yeah, this is more lean. That has a little bit more of a kind of just lighter, brighter malt character. This feels a little bit more robust and more bready even. But also light, soft, similar hop character, light and soft. Go for another sip. A little bit more sweet malt. It's not like super robust. It's not like that kind of Franconian expression, but it has like a little bit more robustness to it than the other one. Actually, also good bitterness. I'm surprised about the bitterness on these two already. Like, our German Pilsners in general just a bit more bitter, at least the ones I've picked here, than a lot of like just macro stuff. It's so much more robust than like if you ever have like Carlsberg or whatever. It has just a touch more robustness. I think it has a little bit of a grassy profile as well, maybe a touch of floral. But the big thing for both of these in terms of the hops is black pepper and spice. This is gonna be the most difficult wine tasting. I don't think I'll nail anything because it's so it's such a soft style. So it's gonna be really hard to pinpoint beers, especially also because both Jever and Flensburger are also, although they're bitter, they're also balanced. It's not like they jump out at you with loads of aroma hops. This has a savory edge. Like almost like there's some salinity or something to this. Best mouthfeel so far. Really big in the mouth. Fluffy even. Very peppery, dry spice on the end. It's not got a lot of that like bright, fruity edges that you also find in Pilsner. This also had some woodiness to it. The best mouthfeel of the bunch, but I think it falls a little more flat compared to the other two in the flavor department. This one is maybe a shade darker than the rest. So this is the mildest aromatic so far. The others jumped out with some like more robust grain, or it just had that like ounce of German hops, but it's not like as intensely hoppy as some of the best like German Pilsners you can find from smaller breweries. If you think of something like Käsemann's Handpils or Handpils from Riegele or Schönraumer's Pilsner, for example, and stuff like that. There's a lot of like smaller producers that just make these awesome, really aromatic Pilsners with the classic hops. But they're definitely Pilsners because they're much more robust in the hop characters than a Helles, for example. But this might be the mildest so far. Yeah, that is the one that feels the most industrial so far. The one that feels the most tame. It's got a little bit of sweet malt action, a little bit of dryness, a little bit of spice. This is my least favorite so far, so we're gonna put that up there. That's just a little bit more generic than the rest. This one, it's the same color. It's just that one jumped out, but it could also just be the background. So this one has maybe a touch of a floral note compared to the rest, and it's also a little bit biscuity and not just like fresh grain and like a barley field or whatever, fresh, crackery notes. or doughy breadiness and all that. And yeah, also somewhat generic on the hop nose now, smelling it a bit more. Let's try it. Cheers. Also one of the more tame ones. This feels even more tame than that. This is night and day with these two. These two feels much more mass market big beers. They lean more towards like macro brewed Pilsners so far. They're very clean, almost clinical, light. It has a little bit of citrus, but it lacks that proper robust Pilsner bitterness. So I think those two are the least favorites so far. Let's see what the next one. Also really lean. It's almost got like a corny vibe or something like that. Cornflakes or something. But otherwise it's like biscuity or crackery. And light on hops, this one too. Also really devoid of the bitterness that the first three had. The first three are definitely the best so far. This feels more macro, more generic. Super clean. I mean, there's no off flavors. They're not terrible beers. They're just like a bit boring, really. This has a little bit more bitterness to it than the others. So second to last here. This also has a slight savory note. That's interesting. I wonder if that's aged because not all of these are like dead fresh. Yeah, it's interesting with that savory note. Super lean, crackery, a little bit doughy. This has something slightly sippy about it. Like sippy, is it lemon or something? It's also really light. It's funny, like only one really here is not from a really big brewery, but there's still three that really stands out as being nicer than the rest. I think I'll place that somewhere in between those two. Well, let's check out the final one. This has a bit more robustness as well, going back to that biscuity note and like almost like toasted crackers. But I think it lacks on hops. It's not the same vibrancy. It's a little bit sulfuric. There's something in here that reminds you a little bit of like farty, eggy nuances. It's super subtle. It just helps amplify the hop character a little bit. It's nothing bad. I actually like a little bit of sulfur in lagers like that are hoppy and IPAs, especially West Coast IPAs, just lightly because it can bring out a lot of hop character. Yeah, this has grassy notes, citrusy notes, floral notes. I think it's the most like aromatic hop character and more nuanced. It's not all just pepper, especially on the finish, but it's not that bitter. It still feels, maybe it's actually a little bit more bitter than the rest. I think that one goes over to this pile. Now we're gonna give some grades and we're gonna guess these. So I'm just gonna quickly plow through and see the positions of these. Okay, I decided on some favorites and some grades. And I would say I would drink all of these Pilsners again. They're not the best Pilsners you can find, but I think they're nice. I like them. I definitely have other favorites. Again, I mentioned a few earlier that comes to mind, but Schönraumer, for example, their Pils is amazing. And if we're talking German breweries, that is as well. Riegeres Herrenpils is amazing. And the Herrenpils of Käsemann in Bamberg is amazing. Even the Pilsner from Wagner in Merkendorf is amazing. There's a lot of great Pilsner in Germany. And these are nice Pilsners. They just don't reach the territory of greatness. Well, maybe kind of close, some of them actually. They're really nice, especially also how easy to get they are. Like accessibility with these is crazy in Germany. And the fact that you can get a lot of them so easily and they're of this quality is pretty amazing. That's not something you usually find in many other places in the world where you can go and get a Pils and it's always like what you expect from a German Pils. But they're not as good as some of the best. So I picked some favorites and I have a couple guesses. And my initial guess is that these two is Jever. I think this is Jever and I think this is Flensburg Pilsner. And the reason why I think that is because I remember Flensburg Pilsner having a really sharp, intense, peppery flavor, like lots of Perlehop-like flavor. And that has some of that. And this reminds me of Jever, because Jever has that really massive pop of bitterness that's bigger than the rest, with also having some classic peppery, spicy, grassy action. Not super floral, but it encompasses that. So I'm guessing that those beers are those two beers. But there was another one, I think maybe was it this one or that one, that also could be Flensburger Pilsner, but I'm not sure. But my guess is that these are maybe the Radeberger and maybe Bitburger and Krombacher. I have a feeling that my least favorites is Holstein, König Pils, and Radeberger Pils. Because when I've had them, I remember being a little bit like, they're not that hoppy. They have a bit more of that sweet cereal green and whatnot. And that's just my guess. But it's been a long time since I had them. And I think I've had all of these before. But besides this one, this is the Radeberger is the only one I haven't had before. But in terms of grade for these are like also higher 80s, 87, 86s or something like that. And these are around maybe 84, 85 or something. Lowest maybe 82. It's not terrible beers at all. They're well made. There's no off flavors. I'm surprised because I was really looking for this. And when I just had everything standing, I got something that reminded me of Lightstruck. But I don't know if it's just super light and it's evaporated from the glass or whatever. But this has also been stored in a cellar, dark, ever since I got it, and was stored in a dark warehouse. So I'm not sure if it's gotten a chance to be Lightstruck. But maybe I'll find out when I smell it from the bottle after this. So let's start revealing what is my two favorites. Because I picked two because I couldn't decide between these two that are getting the 90. So these two are number 1 and number 5. This is exciting. So should we get the guess? Holy shit! Holy fucking shit! Holy fucking shit! What the fuck? Holy shit! Oh my lord! What? I'm totally baffled. Because when I was sipping on these, I was just, I don't know, I'm just saying shit. Like towards the end, I was like, I don't know at all. But initial thoughts were that. Holy fucking shit. Wow. What the fuck? Some of the best industrial pilsners in Germany that are mass produced, or are not mass produced on a big scale. There we go. Jever and Flens. What? Okay. So I said these three were, I'm so surprised. I said Bitburger, Radeberger, and Krombacher, right? I think so. Let's see if I'm right about that. So number 3. And number 8. And number 4. 3, 4, 8. Holy fucking shit. I didn't guess exactly, but this was the rough estimate. This can't be fucking true, man. Holy fuck. So these are not big wins. Those are fucking massive wins in my book. What did I say then? This? I've already forgotten what the rest was. 3, 8, and 5. And that's probably the Radeberger, because that was the one that was a bit more hoppy, wasn't it? I'm not sure now. I just sort of tasted it. But let's see. Yes. The only reason why I thought Radeberger would be more hoppy was because it was from a small craft brewery, or smaller. So, and that was one that stood out with a bit more citrus action and whatnot. Holy fucking, is this gonna be Krombacher? And this was number 4. Ah, okay. So we did get one wrong. Number 4, what is that then? Don't tell me is it Holstein? No, it's Radeberger's Pilsner. Okay. So there we go. Okay, and my least 3 favorites were these. And let's see, number 2 was that. Oh, I think that was König. Yes. So that was König. And then this was number 7, which is Holstein. My least favorite is actually Krombacher. What the hell? I remember enjoying this a lot. And this is a beer that has a lot of people talking like, this is really good for the price. Like, what the hell? But the top 3 are the ones that I talked about being some of my original favorites. What the fuck? Flens, Jever, and Bitburger. This is so random. So like when you do these wine tastings, you get so insecure at one point, especially with this menu. We're like, I'm not gonna guess this. But you still have an idea. And I've had these beers, these 3 at least, plenty of times. So I just went with my gut feeling. And I think when you do blind tasting, that's what you should do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this blind tasting. This was really fun, showcasing some German Pilsners from larger producers that should be fairly easy to find. I mean, some of these you can even buy in Denmark. I know at least Flensburg you can, and Bitburger as well. I think sometimes Radeberger as well comes up here. But some of these, you can also just easily find them online, and they don't cost a lot. And I think they're worth a shot for sure. If you want to try some German Pilsners, you don't want to look for all the obscure stuff. Just go to the Danish-German border if you're in Denmark, or go to just across and go to a German supermarket. A well-assorted one will have most of these in their stock. But yeah, this was fun. And I think all of these are pretty decent beers. And I think a lot of these kind of Pilsner type beers, although these are larger brewed and everything, some of them, they get a bad rep sometimes when they're actually quite nice. There's no off flavors. They're not too clinical. They're actually hoppy, but they're not, top of the pop. You can definitely get better. But this was really fun. But yeah, these are probably my 2 favorite industrial large-scale German Pilsners. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if any of these are a beer you've had and you enjoyed, and which one of these are your favorite, or do you have a completely different favorite German Pils? Let me know. And as always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram, all that social media jazz. And I'm going to say cheers and see you guys in another blind tasting or beer review or whatever we end up doing. Cheers.